morning. Welcome to First Christian Church. We have just a few announcements to share with you today. Forever Young will meet tomorrow. This is our seniors ministry for those 55 and up. A pitch-in dinner begins at 6 p.m. with a program immediately following. Everyone is welcome. Also tomorrow, we have a group of 16 who will be traveling to Johnson University in Knoxville, Tennessee for a youth conference called CIY Move. The group will return on Saturday. Please keep the youth and the chaperones in your prayers this week that God will move on their hearts in a mighty way. Please join us for a special benefit concert for Hilltop Christian Camp on Sunday, July 2nd. The concert will be held at the Jennings Church of Christ at 6:30 p.m. Ron Bridgewater and his band will be performing and also leading us in praise and worship. FCC, Jennings Church of Christ, and Christ's Way Christian Church will all be working together on this event in hopes of raising $7,000 for Hilltop's 70th anniversary. Speaking of Hilltop, it's almost time for camp. If you have a child that needs to be registered for camp, please see Rose today. Day camp for those in kindergarten through second grade will be held on Wednesday, June 28th. And those in third through sixth grade who will attend intermediate camp will go on July 9th through the 14th. FCC has a terrific opportunity to reach those in our community who attend the Jennings County Fair the first week of July. We would love to have your help at the FCC Fair booth. Please sign up in the foyer to volunteer for a shift. Vacation Bible School is getting closer and closer. It will be held June 16th through the 20th. We are still in need of lots of volunteers. There's a sign-up sheet in the foyer. Also, children can be pre-registered for VBS. Just click on the link from the church website or the church Facebook page. Mark your calendars. August 27th is officially FCC Day at the Indianapolis Indians baseball game. Game starts at 1:30. Cost is only $14 a person, and we have box seats. To reserve your seat, be sure and sign up in the foyer. There are more announcements in the bulletin, and don't forget that we keep our church website, Facebook page, and Twitter filled with the latest and greatest happenings here at First Christian Church. That's it for our announcements. Have a great week.
As they get ready here, what we're going to do today is we are going to pray for this ministry. I'm going ahead and turn it over to I'll join the prayer circle. I'm going to let Shane go ahead and pray with them. And then I'm going to tell you, I'll let them go back to their seats, and then we're going to tell you a little bit about their ministry. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Shane. These individuals, we do have a few others that work for the Summers Rock, but these individuals have taken on the elementary age ministry and to reach the children in our community. The children who need a place to belong. They've been in school for a good while, and now that school's out and summertime is here, the parents still have to work. So this is a program that gives them opportunity. It's very much hands-on and activity-based, and it ranges. It's a wide range from those going into kindergarten to those leaving the 6th grade. There are kids within our church that benefit from this program, from other churches, and kids who do not have a church home. So this is an amazing opportunity to reach out and make a difference. This ministry started about 4 years ago. We had about 15 that enrolled, and we were really excited because that meant it was fluid, it could operate. But now we registered our 69th child this week. So that program has really blossomed and become quite a ministry in our community. Now these individuals understand that church and ministry is not just something they benefit from, but it's something that they are a part of. They can and will make an amazing difference this summer for God and these families that we're serving. Ministry is who we are as Christians. It's a part of our life. What happens in our past does not define us today. We are people who can and have every opportunity to make a difference. And we're going to talk about somebody today who had very much a negative influence on God's people, but after a life change, was determined to make a difference for God's people. We need to be Christ-centered and ministry-focused. I want to start today by asking this question. Do you believe that God will reach out to anyone? Let me rephrase that one more again. Do you believe that anyone can become a Christian? Despite their background, despite the things that they've done, anyone can become a Christian because God wants them. Think about that for a moment. If you believe that that's true, if you think that that's the truth, then let me ask you a couple other questions. Do you think at some point in time in his life, God tried to reach Adolf Hitler? This man who was responsible for a near genocide of the Jewish people and other minorities, do you believe that at some point in time in his life, as he was striving to take over the world, that God still tried to reach him? What about one of our allies during that time, Joseph Stalin, who killed even more people than Hitler? Do you believe that God, at some point in time in Joseph Stalin's life, tried to reach him? Let's talk about modern day. Osama bin Laden, the man who took credit behind the 9/11 terrorist attacks and other terrorism. Do you think at some point in time in his life that God tried to reach him? What about a popular folklore or fictional character, Dracula, who was actually inspired by a real-life person called Vlad the Impaler? What he did was he actually impaled those who went against him and hung them in his garden. And when people would come past and see what was going on, it was a threat. This is going to happen to you if you come against this ruler. A lot of evil people. Do we believe at some point in time in their life that God tried to reach them? Saul of Tarsus is another one. He witnessed and approved the killing of many Christian leaders, Stephen to be specific. And he set out to destroy Christianity, to squash it. These men were individuals who wanted to get rid of an entire group of people, and they didn't care how they attained their goal. They were self-centered. They were self-focused. As a result, A lot of people lost their lives. Millions and millions of people lost their lives, and several more were severely harmed by the efforts of these individuals. One of them we're going to talk about today. We're actually going to talk about his conversion. That being Saul of Tarsus. Saul was on his way to the road to Damascus. And that's where we meet up with him today. Now, why was he heading toward Damascus? Well, as I said, he was trying to put an end to Christianity. Damascus was a key commercial city. It was located about 175 miles northeast of Jerusalem in the Roman province of Syria. Now, there were several trade routes that linked Damascus to other cities throughout the Roman world. Saul may have thought about stamping out Christianity in that one headquarters, that one central location, would mean an end to the widespread of Christianity. So that's exactly what he was doing. On his way to Damascus, he's confronted by the risen Christ and brought face to face with the truth of the gospel. Acts chapter 9, starting with verse 3, it says this. As he traveled, he was nearing Damascus. A light from heaven suddenly flashed around him. Falling to the ground, he heard the voice saying, Saul, Saul, why are you persecuting me? Who are you, Lord? He said. I am Jesus, whom you are persecuting. But get up and go into the city, and you will be told what you must do. As he's traveling to Damascus, he's almost there, and Christ confronts him face to face. Sometimes in life, there is a spectacular manner in which someone is converted, and someone who's not a Christian becomes a Christian. There's this amazing testimony that happens, and once that testimony is concluded, everybody sits back and says, wow, this is amazing how Christ worked. With that being said, some of us have had a quiet experience as far as our conversion. I would consider my conversion a very quiet one. I was drugged to church, sat in a pew until it finally took. And some of you have a similar testimony. That's how you became a Christian. Now, my testimony isn't greater than anyone else's. It's not less than anyone else's. There are people who came to know the Lord the same way I did. And there are some who don't have a better or greater testimony, but they have a more interesting one. Now, understand, there's not a right or wrong way to come to know the Lord. Now, there are people who will tell you that you have to come to know the Lord in a certain way, and that's silly. The only way to come, the right way to come to faith in Christ is whatever way God brings you. It is at that moment, if you can remember when you became a Christian, it was at that moment that you had a taste of what it's like to be Christ-centered. At that moment, you realized that your life is not controlled by just your actions. At that moment, you knew that your life had to be a life that was not self-centered. Instead, you were pursuing a life that was Christ-centered. If you remember when you became a Christian, you'll remember that your life was forever changed at that moment. Saul, when he becomes Paul, the apostle, and wins thousands of people to the Lord, he looks back at this moment and he says it's the beginning of his new life. His life when he was face to face with Christ. Now understand, Saul did not see a vision. This was something that was very real. Matter of fact, he lost his vision. But he saw the risen Lord. He acknowledged Jesus as the Lord. And he confessed his own sin, and he would surrender his life to Christ and resolve to obey him. True conversion is when we hit that same moment. Now, we may not have been face to face with Jesus, but we have hit that moment where we're looking Christ in the face and we know, hey, my life has got to be different. My life is going to change. Saul, who who was punishing Christians because he thought that they were evil. He thought they were a threat to his Jewish faith, was actually hurting God. And anyone who's putting down Christianity, who's hurting and harming Christians, they're not just hurting Christians in the church, but they're hurting God. So anyone who's stopping progress within the church or stopping progress within Christ's working in your family or your friends or your environment, you are hurting God more than hurting anyone else. And I don't think anybody wants to be that way. We talked about how to be Christ-focused, and that's when you finally realize that living your life is more than just living for yourself. Instead, it's living for Jesus. Your life has changed because you have fallen in love with Christ, and you know the direction that He's guiding you. But we also have to be ministry-focused, and as we take a look at this conversion, that's exactly was God's approach. He saw Saul as this horrible individual. But he wanted Saul. He wanted this evil man. He saw the good in him. The fact that Saul was an incredible leader. The fact that he was a faithful man. The fact that he was loyal. That he was zealous. That he didn't do anything halfway. God loved him. And that's what God wanted. God wanted Saul. God wanted us. And He wants those around us. This is about ministry. God knew that Saul could make a difference. He knew that Saul was hurting people. And He wanted to put an end to that. But He also saw that not only did He want to put a stop to the pain that Saul was causing, but He wanted to turn him into something special. He cared for him. And we see this awesome transformation of Saul becoming Paul. And Paul wanted the church to grow and to succeed. He knew it wasn't about him, but it was about those he was trying to reach. And he would be beaten. He would be left for dead. He would be imprisoned and ultimately pay the ultimate price of giving up his life just so God's word could be spread. Paul was threatened every day. He was threatened by the government. He was threatened by people. Now, in our world today, there's no threat. We live in a country that we can freely worship Christ. So what's stopping us from having the same ministry focus that Saul had? To make the same difference by sharing the gospel of Jesus Christ. To see the power of the Holy Spirit at work, to see the power of God. I want to tell you about a story about, and this is a true story, about David Berkowitz. Now, he was the man who was known as the Son of Sam. And in 1977 in New York City, he murdered 6 people and wounded 7 others with a .44 revolver. He ignited public panic. Everybody was terrified of what was happening. And when they finally captured him on August 10, 1977, outside of his hotel room, his apartment, as he was taken in custody, he said, "Well, you caught me. How come it took you so long?" Now, he was not part of a demonic cult of any kind. He was obsessed and worshipped Satan. And he was so focused on Satan that he believed that Satan was sending him as a soldier on a mission, that he would go out and kill these innocent people. When he was arrested and sentenced to life in prison, it was about 10 years into prison that he realized that he wasn't going to make it in prison. He thought many times of ending his life. But it was at that time that someone shared the gospel with him. And in 1987, 10 years after he was arrested, he became a Christian. And since that point, he has ministered at the correctional facility at Sullivan. He's become a mentor, a spiritual advisor, and a friend to all the inmates there. He is the only inmate that's allowed to visit everyone in the facility. And he has led hundreds to Christ. He's become a model prisoner and a classic example. Now it's hard because he has great remorse for what he did. He has sought forgiveness from those families. But he now knows that he has an awesome opportunity to make a difference. He started a website, Rise and Shine, in which people outside of the prison operate for him, and to this date, over 350,000 visitors have visited that site. While he's a recovering drug addict, and while he was once a worshiper of Satan, he is now a believer and making a huge difference. When asked what message he would like for people outside of his world at Sullivan to know, he said this: tell them with God there is always hope. And if we can save someone like me, then he can save anybody. The story is from Dr. Scott Bond from CBS News. God will call someone to reach Saul. And it was a major task. Who is God asking you to reach out to? Now, it will be a major task. But are you ready to discover who God is leading you to? God calls someone to witness to Saul. Saul becomes blind. He's staying in this home. And at this moment, in his vulnerability, in his weakness, God knows that this is an opportunity to save him. So he approaches a Christian who knew about Saul, who knew that Saul had thrown people into jail and beaten people and even approved of the killing of Christians. But he still calls somebody to reach out to Paul. Verse 10 says this: Now in Damascus there was a disciple named Ananias. And the Lord said to him in a vision, Ananias. Here I am, the Lord said. Get up and go to the street called Straight. And the Lord said to him, to the house of Judas, and ask for a man from Tarsus named Saul, since he is praying there. In a vision he has seen a man named Ananias coming in and placing his hands on him so he may redeem his sight. Lord, Ananias answered, I have heard from many people about this man, and how much harm he has done to your saints in Jerusalem. And he has the authority here from the chief priest to arrest all who call on your name. But the Lord said to him, Go, for this man is my chosen instrument, to carry my name from the Gentiles and kings and the sons of Israel. I will certainly show him how much he must suffer for my name's sake. No, not him, Lord. That's what Ananias thought. He would never become a Christian, is basically what Ananias told God about Saul's conversion. Have you ever met somebody who you thought they're never going to become a Christian? They're never going to become a believer. That's exactly how Ananias felt about Saul. And with good reason. Saul had pursued several believers and had led them to their own deaths. Despite his understandable feelings, I think we can all see where Ananias is coming from. Ananias obeyed God, and he ministered to Saul. You see, Ananias understood that you can't limit God. Oh, it's tempting. It's tempting to limit God and what he can do. But when we obey God, when we follow his lead, he will lead us to difficult situations. He will lead us to difficult people. He will lead us to difficult places. Just as he did Ananias. But Ananias' faith in Christ would bring great blessings. And for Saul, who became Paul, it would bring great sufferings throughout his life, as well as blessings. He would suffer for his faith. But God called him to commitment. He called Ananias to be committed. He's calling us to have commitment in him. Not to be comfortable, but to be committed. He promises to be with us when we suffer, we go through hardship, not to just spare us from them. Ananias reaches Saul. He found Saul as he knew he would, and he introduced himself and greeted him as Brother Saul. Can you imagine Ananias as he's going to this house of Judas and the butterflies that was in his stomach, how nervous he was, how anxious he must have been? And he goes in there because he's obedient to the Holy Spirit, and he greets Saul lovingly. He becomes himself and who he is, and he knows that God is leading him here. Now, it's not always easy to love others, especially when we're afraid of it, just as Ananias was. Or we even doubt their motives. I'm sure Ananias thought, does Saul really want to become a Christian? But we follow what Christ has laid on our heart. Ananias was an example of such. By showing loving acceptance to other believers, he would see a life change. And Saul's life changed because of the strong presence and power of Christ in his life. And as the Holy Spirit filled Saul and gave his life to him, he received his sight and was baptized. But God used someone to reach him. God used someone to make a difference. And God is leading you to make a difference. God is leading you to reach someone. What he's asking is for your commitment. So you think, how can I be committed to God? There's one basic plan for all of us to be committed to God. And it's an interesting thought because it's a challenging thought. How many of us are what you call people pleasers? We want to please everyone. It's just easy that way, isn't it? We want everybody to like us, and we want to please everybody. That just makes life easier. But when you're so focused on pleasing others, you're going to let other people down. You're going to make other people upset. And you're going to ignore the person you should be pleasing. Now, if we are pleasing God, as we are called to do as Ananias did, not only will God do amazing things in your life, and not only will God use you in a mighty way, but there are going to be people that you please because you please God. And there's going to be people that will be upset with you because you please God. But guess what? You're doing the right thing. You are pleasing the one who matters. And believe this, you are exactly where God wants you to be. And remember, we're not pleasing anyone but God. Once Saul was converted, he was determined to make a difference. And I believe in order to make a difference in our lives, we have to be determined to make a difference. No one can do it for us. Saul was going to make a difference. And we're going to find out what he does as soon as he becomes a Christian. Saul, with the disciples in Damascus for some days, he immediately began proclaiming Jesus in the synagogue that he is the Son of God. But all who heard him was astounded and said, "Isn't this man who in Jerusalem was destroying those who call on his name?" And then they came here for the purpose of taking them as prisoners to the chief priests. But Saul grew more capable and kept confounding the Jews who lived in Damascus by proving this one is the Messiah. After many days they passed, the Jews conspired to kill him. Saul's reaction to his new life is amazing because he immediately, as soon as he receives a sight and spends some time with the disciples in Damascus, he goes to the synagogue and he tells them about Jesus. Now, some Christians I have heard will counsel new believers not to go crazy in ministry yet, but to be prepared. Now, I do think there's some things that we can learn here. Saul did take time to learn about Jesus before beginning his worldwide ministry, but he didn't stop witnessing. Now, there's something to be said, not rushing into something unprepared, but something else we need to do is not wait before telling others about Christ. The best time to tell people about Christ is when you're excited. Whether you're a new believer or whether you're a believer a long time, but you entered into a different chapter in your life and now you're on fire for God. When we are excited, it's the best time to make a difference. It's the best time to share. It's the best time to share our excitement with other people. Now, we know this in our everyday life. When there's a birth of a new baby, we're excited to post it on Facebook or to tell people about it. When someone becomes engaged, we're excited to share the news. We're excited by good news. So excited that we have to share it. That should be our approach to the good news that we have of Christ and the difference he wants to make in your life. Be excited. Saul would make a difference. He was making a difference immediately. His arguments were very powerful because he was a brilliant scholar. He was a brilliant mind to begin with. Even more convincing was how much his life changed. And that's the real difference. That's the real evidence. People knew that Saul taught was real, but they could really tell the difference in how he lived his life. It is important for us to know the Bible. It is important for us to know God's Word. It is important for us to take the opportunity to teach people about Christ. But the real evidence of becoming a Christian is how your life is different than the lives who are not Christians. Other things that I admire about Saul, not only was his life changed, but other things I admire about him is he did take some alone time with God. He did focus on his personal development with God. He was building a foundation with God. You know, when we want to make a difference in our church, a difference in our community, we cannot make a spiritual difference if we do not have a solid relationship with our Heavenly Father. What difference can we make if we're not close to God? If we're not close to God, we're not pursuing Him. We're just playing the religious or the church game. But we're not pursuing God. Saul takes some time to pursue God. Not to mention, he also kind of went into hiding because the Jews were very upset with him. They conspired to kill him. He really ticked off some of the Jewish leaders. So he needed to give them time to cool their heels. And like the apostles did with Jesus, he spent about 3 years preparing for his worldwide ministry, but he was still sharing Christ with people around him. The biggest obstacle that Paul would have is he needed someone to help him. We all need people to help us, don't we? Change is very difficult. And changing who we are is even more difficult. It's difficult to change our reputation. Saul had a terrible reputation with Christians. And we too, we've done some non-Christian acts. We have reputations to repair, to fix. The only way we can change our reputation is if we change our life. And Paul knew that. He knew the only way he could change people's minds about him was to change his life. But he needed someone to come alongside, to encourage him, to support him, to help him, and help broadcast him, tell everybody who he was. And that would be Barnabas. Now Barnabas, his name means son of encouragement. But Barnabas was his buddy. He was his best friend. And he was a Jewish convert himself, and he would become the bridge. And Barnabas would come alongside Paul, and he would be Paul's encourager. He would continue to teach Paul, introduce him to other believers. And those are the people that we need in our life. People who will come alongside with us, encourage us, support us, teach us, and introduce us to other believers. So how is God calling us to be a Barnabas to new people, to other believers? Well, he was a son of encouragement. How many of us love to receive words of encouragement? I think we all do, right? But how many of us actually share that words of encouragement? I mean, how often throughout the week do you stop and send someone a text of words of encouragement? Well, it's not a priority for us. That's why we don't do it. I mean, I think all of us have a heart to do it, but we don't because it's not a priority. But is it worth it? You could be making someone's day. You could be giving them words of encouragement when they need it the most. But because it's not a priority, we don't do it. The fascinating thing about it is sending words of encouragement doesn't cost you anything. It's completely free. But we still don't do it because we don't take the time. What about praying for people? A couple of weeks ago, someone stopped me and they just said, you know what, I'm really praying for you. There was no way for me to know that they were. But just the fact that they stopped, took me aside and said that's what they were praying for, meant the world to me. As it would. And I believe them. But when we say, hey, I'm praying for you, we have to make sure we're doing it and that we mean it. When we tell someone that, it should mean the world to them, but we should be doing it. Now, it's not telling them to brag or to boast, it's telling them to encourage. Now, this week, several of us have received this little key tag from CIY, and that's what we're sending the kids this week, as you heard in the announcement video. We're going to be praying for them here in a moment, but this key tag serves as a reminder. So every time I get my keys out and I see who I'm supposed to be praying for, who I need to send words of encouragement for, I can't remember if Angel told me they know yet, so I'm not going to say who I have. But, oh, okay. Brian, I have Brian. If you forgot, I got you, buddy. I got you back. So next week he'll be telling people he didn't say anything to me. I got to fix that. I got to make sure we do that. But this reminds me to be praying for him. This reminds me to be giving him words of encouragement. And while I appreciate that, because somebody took effort to write the names out and give it to everybody, while I appreciate that, you know what? I shouldn't need this. Now notice what I said, I shouldn't need this. I do need it, because I do need that constant reminder, but I shouldn't need to be reminded to encourage people. I shouldn't need to be reminded to pray for various individuals, especially those who are going on a mission trip. Now, this is an opportunity for them to make a difference and to have an impact. Of course I need to be praying for them. This is an opportunity for them to grow, leaps and bounds in the spiritual walk. Of course I need to be encouraging that. But we need a reminder, don't we? This week, do you need a reminder to encourage someone? Do you need a reminder to say, I'm going to pray for that person? I know we get busy. I know things get chaotic. But we shouldn't need a reminder for that. That's something we should already be doing. Already be interested in what we're supposed to do. Now, every time before the CIY leaves, we pray with them. I'm going to actually mix it up just a little bit today. I'm going to go ahead and ask the musicians to come forward, but I'm also in the process, I want to ask the CIY kids to come forward and their leaders. We're going to pray with them before the invitation.